You are watching On Demand. Please do not try to vote or enter any competition or other interactivity in this programme, as it may not count and you may still be charged.
Hello, welcome to Tuesday's Loose Women. It is lovely to have your company this afternoon. And joining me, Ruth Langsford today, are Colleen Nolan, Janet Street-Porter and Brenda Edwards. Now, coming up, would you let your friends help you choose your next date? We'll find out which two of us have already done that. Also, after a picture emerged online of an airline passenger admitting they had COVID whilst on a flight, we're asking, would you confront a COVID liar? And later, a Loose Women exclusive.
You come into my room and I was lying there and it was during the day and I was just so tired, so uncomfortable. I just didn't feel like, so depressed. I didn't feel like getting out of bed, and you come in and you just really cried, and I remember you saying, I just don't recognise my son.
I do remember that day, James.
Did you feel like you knew how to talk to me?
James Argent, or Arg as we know him, will be investigating the rising number of men suffering from eating disorders. He'll be talking to experts and fellow sufferers and opening up to his mum Patricia there about his own darkest days. First today, the big story, front page. First, an email has come to light showing that Boris Johnson's principal private secretary, Martin Reynolds, invited more than 100 people to make the most of the lovely weather, I quote, and hosted a gathering in the garden of Downing Street. Now, this was May 2020, during the height of the lockdown. So much outrage about this today, Janet, and the fact that there is an email. I mean, there's been speculation before saying, was it a party, was it a work? You know, we were just working outside in the garden. This was actually an email. He says, after what has been an incredibly busy period, we thought it would be nice to make the most of the lovely weather and have some socially distanced drinks in the number 10 garden this evening. Please join us from 6 p.m. and bring your own booze. Bearing in mind, at the time, the rules for the rest of us were you could meet one person outside. Just one.
Exactly. I was so incandescent when I heard this. I went to my diary, me, party animal Janet, who spent 50 years of her life out at every opportunity. And on May the 20th, I did absolutely nothing. I was at home. And in fact, that entire week, I was at home, and I remember May the 20th really clearly because we did Loose Women and I had to do it from home. And in fact, I didn't come into the studio because I was over 75 from the 18th of March till July the 7th. So
I forgot about the age restriction as well.
Yeah, the age restriction meant that I was advised not to do anything. And I remember May the 20th, 2020, because I've looked it up on my camera, on my phone, and it was so hot and I wasn't allowed to meet anyone. I jumped in the river near my house. I tied myself to the bank and I paddled around for 15 minutes. There I am, swimming with a safety harness. That's what I was reduced to on May the 20th, while Boris Johnson allegedly, and his wife and all his workmates, at least 30 of them, were enjoying wine and gin and tonics and probably
I mean, I think so many people like you will be looking back or thinking back, maybe looking at their diaries like you have today. I'm thinking back, couldn't see my mum at all.
No.
Had to wave at her through a window. We were working in here, very socially distanced. You know, you were working from home, you know, and I was very grateful to be working. But I think, again, today, you know, it's that whole one rule for us and you will do what you like, which has made people so angry.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter if they were all socially distant
at
all, whether there was 30 or 100. The fact is they weren't the rules. The rules were you were not allowed to meet anybody other than one person outside, which normally meant for a dog walk or something, not as a drinking session.
Yeah, but they're going to explain it away, I think. There's many ways they can explain this away. You know, there's 40 people that were at this party and they were in pairs of twos. So that's how they can explain it, and they were socially distanced around this massive garden. I personally think that they need to work on getting a better plumber to sort out these leaks that are coming out of the Houses of Parliament.
Well, there's a statement from from number 10 Downing Street, which says the Prime Minister's principal private secretary, Martin Reynolds, continues in his role and has the full confidence of Boris Johnson.
Can I say
But the question is, have we got confidence in the Prime Minister?
Well, shall I just make a small point? I've worked for over 50 years in the media, in television and radio and journalism. And of all the employers that I've had, none of them have had, as a matter of course, at the end of a working day, the entire staff go in the garden and have free wine and cheese.
The wish.
I mean, and also we're told these aren't parties, they are work gatherings. And it's this kind of flim-flam, it's this mealy-mouthed excusing themselves like they're a special case. I mean, what kind of workplace does that, especially at the height of a pandemic?
Well, I believe Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, yesterday, he was visiting a COVID vaccination centre, I believe, and he was asked about this, and this is what he had to say.
Did you and Carrie attend the Downing Street party that was organised by Martin Reynolds on the 20th of May?
All of that, as you know, is the subject of a proper investigation by Sue Gray.
So have you already been interviewed by Sue Gray, and if not, do you object to her questioning you again about this?
All that is subject for an interview, for an investigation by Sue Gray.
Oh,
Well,
my
I don't
God,
think many
he's
people
laughing.
find it amusing. I
Did
don't
you need to
laughing.
investigate? It was there in an email. You wrote. There's nothing.
And he was there.
Yeah, it's closed.
What are you investigating?
Yeah,
Silly
and I
Boris.
think, again, Janet, every time I hear those, will be a full investigation.
Yeah.
And what?
And
Well,
spend more
what?
money.
And
Well,
what?
a lot of these people investigating, like Lord Guy investigating the cost of redecorating the Downing Street flat, these people are appointed by the Prime Minister to, investigate the Prime Minister. And I don't doubt that the latest civil servant investigating the party will be as independent as she can, but given what's happened over the flat, don't hold your breath.
Also, I heard so many people on various news programmes and radio this morning in tears talking about how at that same time, in May 2020, they couldn't go to a close relative's funeral.
Exactly.
Couldn't see their mother who was dying.
And
you
he's
know,
kinning
and
tea
they're
while
all,
he's
they're all
answering the
saying, come and
question.
enjoy the nice weather and bring
Well,
your own
you were
booze.
very, very upset about your mum.
I was very
I was
upset.
upset about my sisters. I
Yes.
couldn't go. My sisters who'd just been diagnosed again with cancer, and I wasn't allowed to go and see
Yeah,
them.
my ex-husband died of cancer during this period, and I just think all over the country people have got their own stories to tell about the height of the pandemic, and somehow in this country there's a group of people who think they're special, and it's just been reinforced once again.
I just like to see how they explain this one away, because the last one we were told it was a working meeting, but this is actually an email, a physical email that is an invitation to 100 people to come to a social gathering.
Bring a bottle.
And bring a bottle.
Well, of
And
course, that's,
cheese.
by the way, bring a bottle. Do they have the bottle already in the office, or are they going to make a completely unnecessary shopping trip from their office to an off licence in the region of Whitehall to get that
Good
bottle
point.
to take it to the party?
Well, it's not going to be the last time we talk about this, I'm sure.
No.
There's going to be a full investigation, apparently. Yes. OK, some more COVID story, I suppose. This is a bit of a moral dilemma that we'd be interested to know what you think. Imagine that you have finally made it onto a plane for that long-awaited holiday, or perhaps to go and visit somebody you haven't seen for ages, and you see the person in front of you sending this text message. Unfortunately, I can't read that. What does it say? Oh, there you go. It says, "We have COVID. Shh. That's why we're coming home a day early on the plane now." So somebody behind that person, at an angle, saw, nosy, shouldn't be
Not
looking,
socially
but,
distanced
but
at all.
saw it and took that screenshot. What would you do? Would you confront that person and go, "How dare you be on here with COVID"? Would you ignore it? Would you go up and tell one of the cabin crew? Oh, it's a good one, isn't it?
What's my sentence if I say the wrong answer? Oh,
Safe space.
it's
safe
like
space.
multiple choice. I could be, buzzed out here. Okay, so I would think I would like to think that I would confront them, but I wouldn't, because I'd be scared, because I don't know what they're like. I would like to think I would go up to the airline staff and say this, I've just seen this person and they've got COVID, but then I'd think, well, we're all in the air now, we've probably got it. So then my other thing would be, I don't really want to tell anyone, because when we get off the plane, we're all going to be put into quarantine and I want to go home. That's very selfish of
So
me.
you'd keep it to yourself, hope that you hadn't picked it up from that person.
Well, I would hope that on the plane we would all be wearing masks as well, and I'm jabbed and all of that. So it's very selfish of me, but I'd just be thinking, I want to go home too, and I don't want to be quarantined.
I was quite shocked when I saw it,
I'm
Janet.
being honest.
My first reaction, if I'm honest, was, how dare you?
Yeah,
how dare you?
really
when people
bad.
have waited months, years to be able to get onto a plane, have all gone through the procedures and had their jabs and have their vaccine passports and do the PCR tests, etc., etc. How dare you come on this plane and put us all at risk? I wouldn't confront them because, I think,
yeah, you wouldn't
don't know,
confront them.
but I think I would go up, you know, where the cabin crew are, pretending I was going to the loo, and I would have a quiet word and say, I'm not sure I read it correctly, but I just think I might have seen
How
that
did
person.
they get on the plane?
Yeah, that is a question, how they got on the plane.
When you think of all the restrictions to even try and get on a plane now, how did
but
they
I think
get
you
on
have
if they
to,
were...
you do your test before, 2 days before you fly at that point. So maybe
I thought you had to do another one on the day, though. A lateral
I don't know
flow.
if you do have to do one on the day, do you?
I don't know.
But that's the
don't
point.
know.
You should have to if you're taking
I
a flight.
think a lot of this kind of fudging of what's happening goes on all the time. I mean, I've heard rumours that lots of people who work in the hospitality business might test positive but don't do anything about it. But I'm not blaming anyone because most of the people, young people who are getting COVID now, are not having, if they've already been vaccinated, are getting very, very mild symptoms, if any. So,
and there are a lot of people, if they don't work, they don't get paid.
well, exactly. They need to
Desperate
work.
situation.
So it makes people make this decision about how are you going to be entirely honest. If I had been on that plane, I'm afraid I wouldn't be a crawly creep like Colleen and do nothing. I would...
It's not a crawly creep, it's just selfish of me.
selfish.
I held my hand up.
Selfish, OK. Agony Aunt Colleen admits she's selfish. I can see the headlines
Please don't
now.
start any more headlines, for God's
I've
sake.
had enough of those.
Yeah,
this
it's had
week.
enough headlines for 10 years. Well, I would walk up the aisle pretending I am just going to loo, but I would have a piece of paper and a biro in my hand. I'd go in the loo and I'd write a note and say, the person in seat 16C has sent a message to their friend on the phone saying they and their partner have tested positive for COVID, fold it over, come out and they go to the stewardess, someone's left a note in the loo.
Oh. So you
I
could
would
be
get out of
accused-
it.
You could accused of dobbing them in.
Yeah, well, I'd put, obviously, if Colleen was on the plane, I'd get her seat number and dob her
Brenda,
in.
what do you think?
Well, I personally, I think everybody should be taking personal responsibility to be safe and as following the guidelines as much as they can. This, I'm more of a thing of I wouldn't dob somebody in because that's just not me. And I think, as Janet said, we don't know. There could have been a financial reason that they had to work, or maybe someone had passed away in their family and they had to get home. We don't know what the circumstances are. So, if the people at the top can bend the rules, then I think that's why a lot of people are just thinking, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
Well, they do now.
Actually, I mean, that's back to the first story we're talking about. That is the problem,
Yeah.
isn't it? Whatever they tell us to do now, you're going, really?
Yeah.
Really? You want us to do
Well,
that?
also the prosecutions for flouting the lockdown rules varied from area to area and varied from police force to police force, and some police forces didn't implement them and others did. So everybody going back to the Downing Street party, I think everybody is going to say, well, some people were fined thousands of pounds.
Well, there was that case at a funeral, wasn't there? When was he arrested, I think?
Yeah, and there were the 2 women who were stopped from walking their dogs.
Yes.
Carrying a cup of coffee somewhere in the Peak District. And,
in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere. They were told they were breaking the law. I mean, there's been some very heavy-handed policing in all areas of the country except West
Downing
1,
Street.
Southwest 1.
10.
And absolutely, it's not good to break the law. We don't condone that
We
here.
do not
No, we
condone
don't.
that, Brenda,
No, we don't.
at all. Thank you very much. Anyway, stay with us on Loose Women. Lots more for you. Do you think the term pushy parent is sexist? Now, Judy Murray, who spent years, of course, on the sidelines of tennis courts supporting her boys, says she wouldn't be labelled one if she was a man. And we're a nation of dog lovers, but would you clear up another person's pets? Who? Somebody, not your dog, somebody else's.
Not mine.
Find out which one of us has got a very radical idea of how to clear up our streets from the poop. Back after this.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
I
think the other things to look out for would be around social withdrawal, more obsessionality around food, feeling a lot more tired, a bit more irritable.
These are literally all the points that I was dealing with and going through, yeah.
And did anyone recognise it in you?
My mum did.
Did she?
So that's James Argent there, opening up about the hidden symptoms of his binge eating disorder, something that affects 1 in 50 people. Argent will be sharing his own story and looking into why so many men are suffering. Don't miss his very moving film, which he made exclusively for Loose Women. We'll be showing that at 1 o'clock. Before any of that, competition time. Your chance to win £96,000 in our cash winter warmer. £96,000. I think it's worthy of one of those. Sean Welby has all the details for you.
Oh, we want to warm up your winter by giving you the chance to win a red-hot £96,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you'd like.
We've also come to Bickley Primary School today,
so we can give some mums and dads on the school run the chance to win a little extra cash with our pop-up game show.
Let's play Fast and Loose.
Charlene, A, White or B, Williams?
I'm going to go for B, Williams.
Are you sure?
No.
Birds of a, A, flutter or B, feather?
I think feather.
What with white? I think I'll go with white.
I think he's going with A, white.
Yay! You two could be a winter winner. And here's how.
For another chance to win £96,000 in cash, text WIN to 86060. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 786060. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY50 PO Box 7558 Derby DE1 0NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close on Friday the 28th of January at 3 p.m. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Sean. Best of luck with that. Now, she has spent years on the tennis sidelines helping her sons, Andy and Jamie, achieve huge success on court. But Julie Murray says she was labelled a nightmare pushy parent, and she believes that she wouldn't have been given that title if she was a man. Interesting term, pushy parent. If someone says pushy parent, do you automatically think of a pushy mum? Or do you think it is a collective?
No, I actually think it's a collective, and I think it depends in what situation you're looking in. You know, when my boys were little and I took them to football every weekend, there was a lot of dads screaming on those sidelines.
Very pushy dads.
Very pushy dads, talking to their 5-year-old like he was Beckham. You know, and I'm thinking, come on now, it's raining, he's cold, that's why he's crying. And I think the reason she gets it is because she's the mum. If she was just this, which she is anyway, you know, like a great tennis coach, and she had just been their female coach, she wouldn't have been called pushy parent.
Yeah.
She'd have just been, oh, she's a force to reckon with kind of coach.
Yeah.
So I never think of it as a...
I think as well she was very visible, Janet, wasn't she? She says in this interview she was doing, if it had been rugby or something, she'd have been mingling in the crowd, but she was always in the box and there was a camera always on her, and she was very passionate about supporting her.
But you would be
sons.
if it was your kids,
does that make her a pushy parent or a proud mum or
proud
you
mum?
know?
It just makes her a proud mum, and also she's done a whole lot for women's tennis. She coached the Women's Davis Cup team. And I suppose that Serena and Venus Williams' dad, he didn't get singled out as a pushy dad. He was a dad doing the best for his daughters to raise them out of the background that they grew up in. But I'm actually all for pushy parents. I don't care. I mean, my dad was pushy. He used to take me to football and I had to stand at Fulham week in and week out because he wished he'd had a boy, and all the pushing in the world wasn't going to make me change sex overnight, unfortunately for him.
Did you push your kids? Would you have said you were a pushy parent?
No, I'm not. People will say I'm a pushy parent, but I don't see myself as a pushy parent. Like Colleen, I think it's a collective thing. I don't see it as a sexist thing. You know, growing up, the men in my family were very strong, if not stronger than the females. And it is just a way of showing support for you to succeed. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
So.
There are some pushy parents, though.
There are. There are.
Yeah, but I think that's more parents that are living their lives through their
the
children.
kid, yeah.
OK, should we talk about poo?
Oh, I'd love to.
Let's not.
This is another day on Loose Women.
This is what we do, you
It
see.
is, every day.
Pictures
Just
go
go
off, light and shade. Well,
Fair
it's
play to them.
estimated over 2 million people, OK, 2 million, bought a dog in
Shocking.
lockdown. And now dog behaviour expert Graham Hall, also known as the dog father, he's said a reminder to all new dog owners, they must remember to pick up their dog's poo. 8 million dogs, OK, producing more than 1,000 tonnes of poop every day.
That's a big
so
dog.
that is a lot of poop. But here's a question for you. I know you pick up your own dog's poop, right? But would you pick up somebody else's dog's poop if they've left it behind?
Go to her first.
Are you mad? Hell no, not a chance, no way. I'm still in shock at you saying he has to issue a reminder to people. Take responsibility for your dog poo. If you see a dog poo, pick up the poo and stop relying.
You know, what if someone else hasn't picked up their dog's poo?
I will be running after them. Hello, you missed your poo. Come and pick up your poo.
Yeah, but what if they weren't there and you just saw poo on the floor?
Well, I'm not picking it up.
Well, she hasn't got a dog, so she wouldn't have poo bags.
Yeah, but, you know, I have cats and they're well trained and they use a litter tray.
They're cats.
Dogs are supposed to be cleverer than cats. Train the dog, make it do its thing in the thing, and when it's ready,
What,
then
in
you
the
take it for a
litter
walk.
tray? There's no litter tray in the woods.
Watch all this lot
in
now,
my
all these
house.
dog lovers.
My dog doesn't poo in the house, but also I've never seen litter trays in the woods. So how are you expecting my dog to use a litter tray in the field?
I'm not talking about a dog ramping about on its own. I'm talking about you're with your owner. Owner, take responsibility.
Right, I've got a solution here.
Here we go.
As a very keen walker who loves walking the dog in the woods, there's nothing I hate more than this mysterious fruit that grows on British trees. It grows, but it never, ever, it's not edible, it never, it just hangs there. And if the dog poo, if there is a dog poo bin and it's full, then they cluster the bags around the nearest post as if there's a magical person that's going to come from
Well, Graham
high.
says there is no dog poo fairy.
No,
Just
but
let you know
what
that.
We
about
need more
a dog
poo bins.
But what about a dog poo satchel? Right?
Right.
What about creating, like, instead of a rucksack, a thing on your front where when you can find all these, you just pop them in there till you get to the next bin.
Is it like sealed, so there's no scent?
Yeah, so there's
I
no
was going to say,
scent.
imagine meeting the man of your dreams and you're actually covered in dog poo satchel.
I'm
but I
sorry,
agree, I
some
agree.
man might find that actually attractive,
If some
that
man found that
community
attractive, it
spirit.
would not be with me. It'd be straight in the dog poo bin. If he finds dog poo smell attractive,
Look,
he
I
ain't
know
my
you're
man.
getting at me because I made that unfortunate remark about you earlier. And everybody watching, Pauline Nolan is my best friend.
Just in case, just letting you know.
Just in case.
Hashtag we all love her.
Yeah.
OK,
Love you lot.
we have spoken a lot on Loose Women about the underreported side effects of COVID lockdowns and restrictions, and one of those has been a rise in eating disorders. So after the break, we'll be showing a film made exclusively for Loose Women by James Argent, friend of the show, and James has been on his own much publicised journey with binge eating disorder. He's lost 13 stone following gastric surgery last year, and he's been investigating why so many men are also going through what he's experienced and what can be done to help. So don't miss his very poignant and important story right after this. Hello, welcome back to Tuesday's Loose Women, where alongside me, Ruth Langsford, are Colleen Nolan, Brenda Edwards and Janet Street-Porter. Coming up, would you play matchmaker for your friend? Now, 2 women on the panel have already tried this, whilst another member of the panel has insisted she will be solo if she's on the hunt for love. Find out more later on. Now, James Argent, a great friend of the show. We've talked to James many times, and we know him from Towie, of course, and how he's been battling his demons for a few years now. Last January, after overcoming his issues with drug addiction, he came on the show to talk about how he was dealing with disordered eating.
Since I was a teenager, I've always struggled with my weight. I've always gone up and down. It's not something that's just a recent thing. It's not like I've just suddenly put on lots of weight and now I drastically want to do something about it and get weight loss surgery. I've been struggling with my weight and an eating disorder since I was a teenager. I am the biggest I've ever been, but I want to do something about it, and I want to do something about it once and for all. And then I feel like I can really get back to my best and turn everything around and come back in a big way.
Well, it seems he's certainly done that. He went on to have gastric sleeve surgery. That was last April. And while he has lost half his body weight since then, he knew that was not the only battle when it came to dealing with his issues with food. And Arg isn't alone, as more men are now reported to be suffering from an eating disorder. So James continues to receive treatment, but he wanted to find out a lot more.
It's estimated 1.5 million people in the UK are struggling with an eating disorder, and 1/4 of those are men. I'm one of them. I've been suffering from a binge eating disorder for over half of my life. And although people might think that that condition is quite rare, more people actually suffer from binge eating disorders than what they do from anorexia and bulimia. Today, I'm here to see Jess Griffiths from the eating disorder charity Beat to find out exactly why there is such a rise in male eating disorders.
There's never been more of a time that there's been this pressure to look a certain way for men. I think typically we saw it as just a female illness. Well, that's just not the case.
Do you think male eating disorders present themselves differently to female eating disorders?
I think men find it more difficult than women to come forwards and talk. I think I'm seeing an increase in, obsessive gym use.
Yeah.
And this kind of bodybuilding, muscle building addiction that I think a lot of people wouldn't see as an eating disorder. So I think that kind of social norm makes it quite difficult to spot.
So if you are seriously concerned about someone, what should your first point of action be?
Don't keep it to yourself. Have that conversation with the person who you're concerned about. Major on talking about feelings rather than food, or labelling behaviours that could actually cause them to shut down. And I think the other things to look out for would be around social withdrawal, more obsessionality around food, feeling a lot more tired, a bit more irritable.
These are literally all the points that I was dealing with and going through, yeah.
And did anyone recognise it in you?
My mum did.
Did she?
My mum did massively, yeah.
I love learning more from Jess, so I've come to the Loose Women headquarters to meet 2 men who have also lived with eating disorders to find out how they coped.
I was diagnosed with anorexia in 2016, really struggling with food. I lost weight quite quickly, and it was only through my parents intervening, really, that I was able to get the help that I needed. Sadly, I was too ill to kind of engage with that help, and within a couple of months, I had to go into hospital. I actually remained in hospital for 10 months, but the support I received was incredible, and I came out the other side a very different person.
What about you, Dave?
I started developing anorexia when I was like a late teenager, but I didn't realise that I got it for a while. Because like being a bloke, I don't know about you, but like when I was growing up, no one ever told me how to talk about emotions. No one ever told me about how to explain different things. And that was what the anorexia was for me, a way to show with my body there was something wrong with my brain.
It's really exhausting, isn't it?
Oh, it's horrible.
Because when you're not in treatment or you're not getting help for it and stuff, then it does make you a worse person. Being nasty, taking it out on loved ones or lying and stuff, that was major kind of warning signs for me.
My time with Jess and the guys brought back some painful memories for me. I'm on my way to sit down with the person who encouraged me to get help, my mum. When did you notice there was something not right with me?
I think it was around lockdown. Lockdown is when it was started to creep up on you. You seemed to be putting on weight every week, and I noticed not moving as much as you could have been, and you just didn't seem happy in yourself. It was hard. It was hard to see you feeling so uncomfortable in yourself.
I was so image conscious, and I hated the way I looked. I would wait until it was dark to even leave the house. And I think a massive turning point for me was when you come into my room and I was lying there, and it was during the day, and I was just so tired, so uncomfortable. I just didn't feel so depressed. I didn't feel like getting out of bed, and you come in and you just really cried. And I remember you saying, I just don't recognise my son.
I do remember that day, James.
Did you feel like you knew how to talk to me when you was worried? I can imagine it being really uncomfortable.
I wanted to talk to you and you didn't want to talk. So I wouldn't have said that my son had an eating disorder. I never thought that was the root of all your problems.
I suppose that is a big part of it. The reason why you lie and keep secrets is because you do feel a bit embarrassed and ashamed. But really, if you want to change and sort it out, you've got to just talk about it and be honest.
Definitely.
Very powerful, isn't it? Very, very powerful. I mean, we talked to him, didn't we, Janet, on the show before he was going off for surgery. He has lost 13 stone since then, but it's really interesting how he's saying he's now realising it's not just about that, you know, that there's the mental side of eating disorder. And Arj is actually going to be here on Thursday to talk more about his experiences and what he learnt while doing that investigation for Loose Women. And if this has made you worry about anything you or someone you know might be going through too, you can find plenty of helplines. They're all available on the ITV website. Details on the screen for you there. OK, lots more to come on Loose Women, including Brenda's secret role in getting Colin together with her new man. Oh, matchmaker you. Plus, is this naked statue a work of art or a load of old...
Nonsense.
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 A load of old nonsense.
Don't say it's nonsense.
See you after this.
On Thursday, she's part of our TV family. The one and only Holly Willoughby will be popping in to see the Loose Women. I feel very lucky. Opening up about one of her most personal projects yet and revealing some valuable life lessons. Holly Willoughby, Thursday at 12:30.
Hello, welcome back to Loose Women. It's lovely to have your company this afternoon. Hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to be asking whether this naked statue is a work of art or a roadside menace. Doing that in just a minute. Oh, there's yes. And does the sight of it get your motor running like Colleen or just drive you round the bend like Brenda? OK, before...
Where's my show?
Oh, you know.
Sorry.
Janet hasn't made her mind up yet what she thinks. Before we talk about that, competition time for you. You could win an amazing £96,000. Imagine that in your bank account. Sian Welby has all the details for you.
There's an incredible £96,000 of tax-free cash to be won this winter. And like a big warm hug, it could brighten your bank account by the equivalent of £8,000 each month for the entire year.
Now that's worth celebrating. What would you do with that?
Well, if you're looking for inspiration, we've come on the school run to find out what some of the mums and dads would do.
A nice beach holiday. A new car would be nice. It broke down this week.
Get a new kitchen, finally get someone to paint the walls that haven't been painted, that are left bare.
I'd be going on holiday, getting loads of massages. I really need a holiday right now.
That £96,000 winter warmer has to be won, and that winner could be you.
For another chance to win £96,000 in cash, text WIN to 86060. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 786060. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY50 PO Box 7558 Derby DE1 0NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close on Friday the 28th of January at 3 p.m. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Sian. Oh, go, Brenda.
This is good music.
It is good. That was rather abrupt. That was rather abrupt, wasn't it?
Just cut me off in my prime.
Oh, story of her life.
No, it's having a turn. It's called fun, Janet.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, a new year has meant many singletons have resolved to finally find love. But would you let your friends pick a partner for you? So the dating app Tinder, they're working on something called Swipe Party, OK? It's in development. So Swipe Party means that you could invite friends, OK, so they don't have to have a Tinder account. You could invite friends when you're on your Tinder account and they can kind of vet your swiping and
So
go, yes,
virtually,
do.
you can invite
virtually. So that you can be, instead of being on your own swiping left or right, you could be with your friends and they could be going yes or no.
Oh, we did it.
Me and Colin had our swipe party long time last year. We were doing that swipe party. That's old news.
We used to love it.
Yeah.
You invented it, really, then.
We invented it, me and Brett. It wasn't virtually, though. We were together.
No, but we swapped phones. We swapped phones because we were swiping, and no. And then we swapped phones. And I think it works quite well because, obviously, Colin knows me very well and my personality and vice versa. And I think it's much easier when your friend is telling, you know, this is what I think you are like. And that's why I went to Colin.
Are you swiping on a looks basis to start with?
Well, you kind of read the biog as well, but it is, you know, like I've said before, the thing I don't like is it is a bit of a catalogue. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't help but swipe on what someone looks like. You know, they might have the best biog in the world, but you go, oh...
Not for me.
Not for me. So it is difficult with that.
And did you trust Brenda? Like when you swapped the phones, were you nervous thinking, oh, she might swipe the wrong person?
Yes,
or did you trust her judgment?
Don't say his name. She swiped. She found my new man.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I kind of went, oh, he's nice, and she went, yep, definitely swipe for him.
Do you know what? I wouldn't let either of these two even choose the colour of my toilet brush, let alone go on social media.
What about me, Janet? I'm responsible.
No,
I
would no more ask any of you.
And why's that, Janet?
Well, number one, I don't trust any of you. And
that's harsh, man. That's harsh.
It's not harsh. It's a blatant fact.
I phoned you up on your birthday and sang for you and everything.
I know you
took
phoned me
time
up on
out of my
birthday.
day.
You phoned me up on my birthday, on my real birthday, not my TV birthday. Thank you. But I don't want you choosing me a bloke.
I would let you do it for me.
Would you?
Yeah, I would trust you.
Yeah, because I
But
know
also
I know
it's fun
you
as well because Brenda did trust me and there was a few that I'd go and swipe right. To be honest.
Do you have any disasters?
Colin helped me fill out my profile, which is why I've probably been so unsuccessful because
right,
she just...
so she's let you down. You're not saying it in as many words.
There's only so many lines I can tell on a profile.
No, I've just not been successful yet, but I let Colin choose.
You've been trying for so long. Why don't you try another way? Fishing line.
The subscription isn't up yet. It costs a lot of money, you know, on this Tinder profile. It's £129.
And did you help each other write your profile? Because that's, I mean, I've talked about this before, saying if I now have to be in the dating game, that would be really hard to, like, write your own profile without sounding...
But you're on television, Ruth. Everybody knows. If by some miracle there was no Eamon in your life, the entire world knows who you are. And I think
But do they really know me, Janet? Not like you lot know me.
Well, no one knows me either. There's another me. There's a whole other me, which is why...
Profile, it's got lots of different things, different words. And so what I did, I chose my closest friends and I sent them all these words and I said, please pick 10.
What, like loud?
Ruth!
Now burst into song at the top of her hat.
Why is everybody coming...
too hot, too cold.
You know what, Janet, Colleen and Ruth, you lot can just hate me later, yeah? I don't care. That's fine. I love you all equally.
Oh, no, we love Colleen the most today, don't we?
We love her.
Oh, now I'm getting hot. But no, I think it's a lovely way to meet friends.
Yeah.
And like I said, you know, Colleen's had success.
To be fair, she is quite selective and a bit fussy, aren't you?
For herself or for you?
No, for herself.
I'm not fussy.
You are. You do have a checklist, and you're very, very. She's very ruled by
number
horoscopes.
one on the checklist? Must have a pulse.
no, that was mine. And that
no, it's the birth sign.
That wasn't a deal breaker on mine, to be quite frankly.
Well, the compatibility, I found that I get on better with water signs, which is what I am, a water sign.
That's why she lost me.
And it just so happens the people that I have been talking to and had a nice little... They are water signs.
Had a nice little
I'm a water sign, Brenda. Brenda, I'm a water sign, that's why.
We're all Pisces, aren't we?
She spoke to some lovely guys on there, and then she'd go, oh, no, he's this, that, and the other. And I was like... And it was to do with signs. And I'm going, well, I give up. Well, it was, I said I give up.
As long as you're happy, Colleen, that's all I'm happy with. Just send me my hat, yeah?
Let's change... Let's know. Keep swiping, Brenda, because there's someone out there for you. There's someone. God help him. Okay.
You're doing that nationwide tour.
Oh, my gosh, that's so
I might have found him.
She's found him
I might have found him. Have a look at this.
Yeah.
OK, locals in the village of Yoxford in Suffolk have accused this statue of a naked man of driving some people to distraction. Now, this is a 26-foot work of art standing proud in the aptly named Cockfield Hall.
No.
Yes. I kid you not. It's been privately commissioned by a property billionaire, and it's now in the grounds of Cockfield Hall.
Stop saying
and it's next to the very busy A12, OK? So some people, villagers saying, isn't it wonderful, isn't it marvellous? People will come to the village and it will put the village on the map. And other people are saying, it's disgusting, it's grotesque, and it's going to cause an accident because people will slow down to have a gawp.
It's big. Attraction is not that big, and I know the saying, out of little acorns giant oaks grow, but in that particular instance it's a bit like something you'd expect to see on a branch road.
Oh, like what you did. It's supposed to reflect, the artist is Lawrence Edwards. Lawrence Edwards, by the way, I think it's gorgeous. I thought it was clay when I first saw it.
I think
it is good.
But it's bronze, but it's supposed to reflect the gnarly bark of ancient oak trees growing in the parkland around Knoxford. Hence, he looks almost like a wooden man.
Yeah, it does look magical, actually.
I think he's amazing. And it makes me laugh that people are going like, ooh, that we all have to stop and have a little titter because he's like, ooh, naked man, ooh. I just think people will look, or you'd slow down or you'd look. Do you think it's a danger?
Well, I love public art. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I do. I understand them saying, I mean, for me, it is a bit stupid putting it near a main road because you would instantly, it's 20-foot man standing there. Of course,
well, the Angel of the North by the A1.
You're going to look at it.
Stonehenge is on the edge of the 303, you know.
What would you rather have, a big billboard with Brenda's plea for Mr.
Look, leave
Right?
me out of this. I'd rather see that man with something on down below. I don't need to see... He needs to be covered up. And he needs to be finished.
Why does he need to be covered... Oh, there you go. Why does he need to be covered up? Why does that... Why does
well, like you said, I think it's a distraction. What was that billboard? There was a billboard where they had to take it down with the women that were on the billboard because men were actually...
Was that Loose
their
Women?
Cars.
Was it the Loose Women billboard? Was it?
Oh, yeah, that was Colleen's moment of fame in the Westfield Shopping Centre. Me and Colleen with everything, you know, taken off.
I think it's funny that they say it's a beacon for what's in the region. I'm heading down there to Suffolk.
You won't see that in Woodbridge City Centre, I can tell you that.
But they're saying...
why he didn't make it in proportion, though.
But they're saying it is. He's saying it is in proportion.
Well, it's not, is it? If you're 24,
Are you
it wouldn't
basing
be
your
that small.
assessment of what is a proportionate appendage for a man on what you've been
20
seeing on Tinder, Twitter and everything else?
Yeah, well, I would probably swipe left for that, to be honest. Quite frankly. You know what I mean? You do know what I mean, Ruth. Stop laughing.
Ruth
You know
can't
exactly.
speak. I think someone else could have to wait in the show because Ruth has turned into a quaking.
But I do love the art, and I do think it's fabulous.
I love public art. I love that. It's like the giant
Statue of the North
and the Statue of the North and the Angel of the North giant.
I just think he looks like Mod. That's the only thing. He's got no. He
just looks unfinished. He looks a bit like a chubby Wurzel Gummidge. Let's be honest.
And on that
Bless
note.
him.
Sorry, Lawrence Edwards, that she's compared your beautiful artwork to a chubby
but I think
Wurzel
it's
Gummidge.
beautiful.
On that note, we will go. That is it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow, Ulrika Johnson's going to be here, telling us how she's been dipping her toes back into the dating waters.
Oh.
Yeah, more dating. Perhaps you can give us some tips. Cole, tomorrow. There you go. Have a great afternoon. See you. Bye-bye.